I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm good.
I don't have mine.
I'm fine.
I got it right here. All right, pending issues, March 25th, 2025, volume 113, page 213, minutes of March 20th.
So moved. Second.
Joe?
Yes.
Tim?
Yeah.
Fred?
Yes.
Page 214, transfer of pilot payments.
Move to transfer. Second.
Fred?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Tim?
Yeah.
I know it's not listed down here, but we did have one thing to sign, with Garmin Miller,
Yes.
and that's for Fred to sign.
Okay, thank you. So, sir. Move for Fred to sign. Second.
Tim?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Second picture, there's a post for initialization to continue doing that also.
Thanks. How do you sign?
You always say that.
No. Okay. did attend Hardin County Council on Aging meeting Tuesday evening, the 18th, 4:30. And last night attended the Hardin County Pork Fest with Fred. We were both there. Sunday at 5:30, USD School Auditorium. Very good banquet, very good. And I think you guys had the beef banquet.
Yes, we had a beef banquet Saturday. Fred and I attended. Part of us too.
Good morning.
We're still looking for volunteers. So basically, Kent Times came into our last meeting and did an article on the papers out there. But, basically we want to try to get some interest. Nobody reads the paper, but it all takes a while. So, we're gonna go for like June, because it's gonna take some time through the auditor's office and stuff. They have to take time to do their work if we're going to license, but we don't have. So as far as the heavy narcotics or anything, we don't carry, basically whatever we can carry on the truck is over the counter medicines. But we do have an EMR and an EMT, so we can do runs, but, transport wise, they'll call it BKB or BMT. We're just basically trying to get some interest before we close the meeting.
Now, financially, you guys have some money, or you?
And we were just able, in January, pay the ambulance off. So basically, all we have is very minimal monthly expenses, and then insurance. So it doesn't take a whole lot to operate, which is great. We need people to have those.
Possible runs.
Last year, we spent like 60. It's down a substantial amount, staff, full-time staff, so that makes it.
The two people that you
So. It's absolutely time out to
you
do
don't
it.
have emergencies when it's convenient. Just be the perfect time here, and then.
Yeah, once you schedule that, then make sure.
Now, what do you think about? Just volunteer
these people have.
You don't have the numbers.
And you don't have to stay home, because it takes 2 full-time employees
Seen Germany.
to be able to sustain a household.
And you don't have the front.
You know, what it used to be, with my factory, it used to be when there was a call, my factory shut down because the business people in my factory.
The others will be coming.
You know, they would just, and everybody was in town, everybody was right there in the center, they just, you know, and they could go. Well, I think we own the businesses and what other business there is. Nobody actively, work council stuff to get people, you know, you just want to do that. And not just, the days of volunteer is. And then you have to start paying big money to get people to help you. I think something needs to go back. You know what I'm saying? Let them man the rest of the floors. Those two are back there. And we can't go by each other because we got floors. I think Hardin's on the wall and we're just trying to, we have to get one that we can say, hey, it only takes a couple of people, you know, if we can get a couple of And I think if it's closed, I think that's when people.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are based on our agenda, we are continuing our pending process, and today we're going to be reviewing resolutions that have been developed by 3 different townships here in Hardin County: Blanchard, Pleasant, and Hale. We will be reviewing them separately, and we will review them and decide accordingly on those after review. This is part of the solar and solar energy, wind energy that are for large facilities, those facilities that are 50 megawatts or greater. And so we have the opportunities, commissioners, to restrict certain areas within the county from further renewable energy opportunities. And so what we're doing today is based on the resolutions developed by these 3 townships. We are going to determine whether to restrict or not those 3 townships. So we're doing this according to the Senate Bill 52. So anyway, we will proceed with this. Tori, if you could get us started, and you can read the resolutions accordingly.
That's good to hear me read a lot today. Okay, this is volume 113, page 215, to declare Pleasant Township a restricted zone for utility scale wind and solar energy projects. Whereas pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 303.58 and 303.59, a Board of County Commissioners may adopt a restricted area resolution. Whereas at least 30 days prior to the meeting on March 25th, 2025, at which a resolution to designate a restricted area will be discussed, the Board of Hardin County Commissioners did all of the following. A, provided public notice of the date and time of the meeting by 1 publication in a newspaper of general circulation within the county. publicly posted a map showing the boundaries of the proposed restricted area at all public libraries within the county, and provided written notice of the meeting by first-class mail to all school districts, municipal corporations, and boards of township trustees located in whole or in part within the boundaries of the proposed restricted area. Whereas included within this resolution is a map as well as text sufficient to identify all boundaries of the restricted area in accordance with section 303.58D. Whereas upon adoption, a copy of the resolution and any accompanying text and map shall be filed with the office of the county recorder of the county in accordance with section 303.58D. Whereas adoption of this resolution designating a restricted area prohibiting the construction of utility facilities shall become effective 30 days after the date of adoption on March 25th, 2025, in accordance with section 303.59. Now, therefore, be it resolved, in accordance with section 303.58 and 303.59 of the Ohio Revised Code, the Board of Hardin County Commissioners hereby designate all unincorporated areas of Pleasant Township as a restricted area, except for pre-existing projects approved by the Ohio Power Siting Board, prohibiting the construction of any or all of the following: an economically significant wind farm, a large wind farm, a large solar facility.
Hearing the resolution, is there any discussion? Jordan, roll call.
Let's
No.
do a motion first.
I'll make a motion to restrict Pleasant Township to 50 and above solar and wind. Second.
Roll call, Fred,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Proceed with the second resolution.
This is volume 113, page 216, to declare Blanchard Township a restricted zone for utility scale wind and solar energy projects. Whereas pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 303.58 and 303.59, the Board of County Commissioners may adopt a restricted area resolution. Whereas at least 30 days prior to the meeting on March 25th, 2025, at which a resolution to designate a restricted area will be discussed, the Board of Hardin County Commissioners did all of the following: provided public notice of the date and time of the meeting by one publication in the newspaper of general circulation within the county, publicly posted a map showing the boundaries of the proposed restricted area at all public libraries within the county, provided written notice of the meeting by first-class mail to all school districts, municipal corporations, and boards of township trustees located in whole or in part within the boundaries of the proposed restricted area. Whereas included within this resolution is a map, as well as text sufficient to identify all boundaries of the restricted area in accordance with section 303.58D. Whereas upon adoption, a copy of the resolution and any accompanying text and maps shall be filed with the office of the county recorder of the county in accordance with section 303.58D. Whereas adoption of this resolution designating a restricted area prohibiting the construction of utility facilities shall become effective 30 days after the date of adoption on March 25th, 2025, in accordance with section 303.59. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with section 303.58 and 303.59 of the Ohio Revised Code, the Board of Hardin County Commissioners hereby designate all unincorporated areas of Blanchard Township as a restricted area, except for the pre-existing projects approved by the Ohio Power Siting Board, prohibiting the construction of any or all of the following: an economically significant wind farm, a large wind farm, a large solar facility.
Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept?
I so move motion to restrict all 50 and above wind and solar in Blanchard Township.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Tori?
Tim,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
Volume 113, page 217, to declare Hale Township a restricted zone for utility scale wind and solar energy projects. Whereas pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 303.58 and 303.59, a Board of County Commissioners may adopt a restricted area resolution, whereas at least 30 days prior to the meeting on March 25th, 2025, at which a resolution to designate a restricted area will be discussed, the Board of Hardin County Commissioners did all of the following: provided public notice of the date and time of the meeting by one publication in a newspaper of general circulation within the county, publicly posted a map showing the boundaries of the proposed restricted area at all public libraries within the county, and provided written notice of the meeting by first-class mail to all school districts, municipal corporations, and boards of township trustees located in whole or in part within the boundaries of the proposed restricted area. Whereas included within this resolution is a map as well as text sufficient to identify all boundaries of the restricted area in accordance with section 303.58D. Whereas upon adoption, a copy of the resolution and any accompanying text and map shall be filed with the office of the county recorder of the county in accordance with section 303.58D. Whereas adoption of this resolution designating a restricted area prohibiting the construction of utility facilities shall become effective 30 days after the date of adoption on March 25th, 2025, in accordance with section 303.59. Now therefore be it resolved, in accordance with section 303.58 and 303.59 of the Ohio Revised Code, The Board of Hardin County Commissioners hereby designate all unincorporated areas of Hale Township as a restricted area except for pre-existing projects approved by the Ohio Power Siting Board, prohibiting the construction of any or all of the following. 1, an economically significant wind farm, a large wind farm, and a large solar facility.
Do I hear any discussion on this? So with that, is there a motion to accept the resolution?
I'll make the motion to restrict solar farms and wind large 50 megawatts and above for Hale Township.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Fred?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
So we've completed the signing of these resolutions. As you heard from Tori, these will be filed and become effective within 30 days. That allows for any and all opportunity for anybody who so desires to issue a referendum that is against our decision today. That's why the 30-day time period is there. For these three, and we did them separately for that purpose, so that any referendum would be for separately for any one of them. For this particular activity, the date that the 30 days is qualified for, that we would file with the recorder, would be April 24th. So that concludes the pending that we have in here, and we appreciate your attendance. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Yeah.
It'll be the third Monday of April. So it'll be the 21st. Thank you. Got it?
I got a picture of
Right.
where I'm going. Okay, wow.
Okay.
I'd like to do a survey of all the ambulance boards and look at, each one's different, and what we got going on, and how we can. Well, because I think it's something, yes, we're all very regional thing, but we can improve it.
Exactly. Well, you're still gonna have to have squads because you can't bring it all out of county. Because now all of a sudden you've got 15 minutes, but then you also have Upper Soda Valley with a full-time squad. You got my bakery. I won't even go into that, but that's a whole other.
It needs to be coordinated, so he is
We know if we call 911 that we've got help coming and it's not coming for 20 minutes out. Unless it's a catastrophic deal and then it's it is what. So.
Anyways, all right, I'll try to make it to that.
Good. Getting calls out of the country, are you? Yeah. Thank you. You do. I can go in this way.
That's not an exit.
No.
Well, that means you're not exiting.
No, I'm not.
Oh, sorry.
This is Senator Moreno.
It is.
Cool. I just came in and seen it laying on the table there.
Yes.
All right.
You want a copy? Left you a copy. but-
Oh. Tim's very considerate in that.
She's not doing all of it. I don't need it. She's.
I'll get my copy. That one. This one.
Oh, yes, the new website, of course. I think I did announce that.
Yeah. Well, I did change my Yeah. We'll figure it out. That's okay.
So, Commissioners, good morning.
Good morning.
Hale Armstrong, Central Regional Representative.
Brett Rush. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Taylor. Taylor Armstrong.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Davis and Taylor Armstrong, is that what you said?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you.
Okay. We unfortunately don't have our business cards yet. You know how the government works, especially the federal government, it's very slow, but after we're done here, we'll get this involved, and we'll also make sure that you have all our contact information. But really appreciate you finding time to meet with us today. My name is Nick Davis, I'm the Central Ohio Regional Director for Senator Moreno. I understand that Hardin County normally isn't normally in with the Central Ohio region. But the maps that we started with had it in the region, and I actually live just down the road in Bell Fountain. So through my times of working up in Camp Berry and Finley, and being through Kenton, my previous employer went to school in Ada and was on the board of trustees at ONU for a while. So I got to know Kenton, Ada, Hardin County very well, especially over the last few years. And so when we were kind of working out our maps for what regions we were going to have, I really wanted to keep Hardin County because it's a county that I think I know pretty well, and a county that I care deeply about. So my colleague here, Taylor Armstrong, is our Central Region representative. I'll let him introduce himself in a second. But just to give you a little bit of background about myself. So I'm originally from Logan County, grew up in West Liberty in Bell Fountain. I went to Ohio State after I graduated high school. When I was there, I helped on President Trump's 2016 campaign. So after I graduated, moved to DC and served for 3 years in President Trump's previous administration, doing advance for the Secretary of the Interior and for the Vice President. After that ended just over 4 years ago, I moved back to Bell Fountain and started working for a commercial real estate development company in downtown called Small Nation, which is the business that kind of revitalized the downtown. So you think of 600 downtown, Fountain, stuff like that. That's what they were able to bring in. I manage community development and consulting work for the company, and over the last couple of years, Taylor and I both were county captains for Senator Moreno in our respective counties, and got to know him very well over the last few years. He came and visited Logan County very often. I'm sure he was up here in Hardin County fairly often. He led a very busy and active campaign, which was great, and gave us confidence that he was also going to be a very active senator as well. So after the election, when they invited us onto the team, it was kind of a no-brainer. Started just over 2 months ago as the Central Ohio Regional Director. We oversee 13 counties for the senator in Ohio. We've split Ohio into 5 different regions. But the reason we're here today is just to introduce ourselves on behalf of Senator Moreno, get to know the 3 of you a little bit better and the issues that you're facing here in Hardin County. Just talk a little bit about ways that Senator Moreno can be helpful to you and us in his office as well. So, Taylor?
Absolutely. Good morning, Commissioners. Taylor Armstrong, Central Regional Representative. Dynamic duo here to an extent with him. Nick having private sector experience before this TA, but I actually, my previous roles with the state, I was a legislative aide for Representative Tim Barhorst, who had the district just south of here. So we coordinate a lot with former Representative Cross and now Representative Matthews. We've known very well. And you guys are very fortunate here in Hardin County to have him, and along with Senator Robin Colley, who's President of the Senate. So very good for you guys. That was kind of my life prior to coming to the federal level. I don't know if I like it better than the state yet, but the state's good. There's good parts of it.
It is a change, though.
It is very much so. I would agree. As I've learned these past couple of months, but I'm an Urbana guy in Champaign County, so I'm a little further down on 68. So we have the western part of the region covered pretty well, I would say, from where we live and in our connections within our respective home counties. We want to be a resource to you guys, and obviously as the county commissioners, you guys have an understanding and have a touch on the heartbeat of what's going on here in Hardin County and the areas within the county that are booming, that are popping, the good things, and even the bad things that we know as well. And that better informs us as a staff, so then when Senator Moreno is asking what's going on in Hardin County, we know what's going on to an extent, because we want to be as in tune with what's going on here and the other counties that we represent in the region as best as possible. So however we can help do that and relay the good things and even the bad things, Senator Moreno, we're all game for. That's our jobs. And however we can help you guys to do your jobs and help carry out duties for local governments and the county from a federal perspective, we're happy to be a resource in that regard as well. So with that, I'll turn it back to Nick with any Any further questions, concerns?
Yeah, I guess now we'll turn it over to you. Just wanna, hear a little bit more about the three of you and about Hardin County, what you're doing here. I know, you've seen the incredible new work that's going on around the courthouse. I was able to meet with Deb Phillips from the chamber a few weeks ago and learn a little bit more, from the business side of things. Like I said, very familiar with Ada and what's going on there with the university and everything there. Got to meet, got to know their chamber director, Lindsay, pretty well over the last 2 years, but, would love to just turn it over to you and hear more and chat, so.
Well, of course, you came in at the very end of listening to a resolutions that we were hearing and voting upon. And basically, it's dealing with resolutions pertaining to Senate Bill 52. And of course, Senate Bill 52 deals with the solar and wind entities and basically having restricted zones. So our process today indicated that those three particular townships that sent us resolutions, what happened was that they will give us their own resolution that they're asking the commissioners to act upon. So if the act or the request basically came from the township itself. And then we went with that information and we did our due diligence of posting information, circulating it in the paper, and making sure that schools and townships, and they had that. Today was where we actually did the review, and we accepted all three of them. And like I said, there is now a 30-day period where there's the opportunity for a referendum. And then after that time period, then it will be filed with the recorder, and it will be law. Currently, right now, we currently have three that have gone through the process to the point that they have cleared, and the recorder has put them in and recorded them. We have another one that is 2 entities that will be recorded officially later this coming month. And then as I mentioned, later in April, if there's no referendum, then those other 3 will be done. That leaves us then, after all that is complete, anticipating it will, that we will have 8 townships that have asked for this restriction. We have a total of 15 townships, so you get an idea of what we're looking at.
Right.
And again, this request came from the townships. So we do have a number of entities already in place. We have 2 large wind entities, and we have 4, eventually, we have 3 going right now, and there's a 4th one that met the criteria of the siting bill. But we'll have 4 entities that will be solar entities. And so those are already in place right now. The first one that came on board was several years ago, and it was our Hardin Solar 1, had a 150 megawatt facility. And that is located primarily in Marion Township, which is west of here. The next 2 solar, Hardin Solar 2 and Hardin Solar 3, each respectively has 150 and 250 megawatt facilities. And they are just now getting started to generate the electricity. And then finally, one that met the threshold of Senate Bill 52 for our purposes today is the Scioto Ridge Solar entity. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it's about 110 megawatts. It has 110. So those are the facilities that we have: 2 wind, 4 solar.
And those ones are approved to move forward?
That has all been approved.
Have you seen a lot of public pushback on those?
At this point, there hasn't really been any public pushback on those per se, because we've gone through the process. If they were already grandfathered. People have their opinions.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. but because why they had already made the process, why
Some of those projects were before Senate Bill 52.
Yeah, all that was done.
Yeah,
before.
they were
Okay.
grandfathered.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They came in, but those are all contracts with farmers.
Mhm.
We get pilot money off of
Mhm.
it. So.
Yeah, we've been dealing with a couple projects in Logan County. That you might be familiar with. The big one was the Grand Solar project up at Indian Lake,
Yeah.
which received a ton of public pushback to the point where the company Open Renewables actually withdrew their application a few weeks ago. Then we have a much smaller one, 40 megawatts, that wants to go in on the north end of Bell Fountain, technically in Lake Township. So the property owner is working to have that land annexed into the city, because I sit on the city council also, and we've been trying to get through solar zoning regulations and have been having a horrible time trying to get it passed, but so we currently don't have any solar regulations, and so the property owner is trying to get it through since the township doesn't allow it, but fun stuff.
Yeah, I think the dynamics have changed quite a bit since the last election, as far as cost of
Yeah.
solar and wind.
Yep.
And we had a couple of other projects looking at us, and they've decided not to come in.
Mhm.
So,
And a lot of these farms, I mean, they were taking advantage of federal tax incentives and other federal incentives created by the Inflation Reduction Act, which likely it sounds like are probably gonna be rolled back or not extended when they negotiate the next year's budget here that's supposed to be done by September. So Senator Moreno's stance has always been, the government shouldn't be picking winners and losers in the market. If the market thinks that solar is the best way to get energy into the grid, because all of us here know that we have a big energy shortage right now, especially here in Ohio, at the state level, then so be it. But I think right now the market's still thinking that maybe other forms of energy production are still pretty good, whether that be natural gas, coal, or even nuclear energy. So, if someone wants to build a solar farm, the landowner says, hey, okay, I guess that's on them, but, the government shouldn't be favoring one over the other through tax incentives and other ways. So that's kind of the stance he's taken overall, but that's fascinating, it's interesting.
So you saw a little bit today of some of the things that were involved right now currently. Ideas?
no, just, what we're known for, I guess.
Yeah.
First Congressional Medal of Honor winner,
Mhm.
Jacob Barrett, signed in the yard.
Yeah.
We had a couple
Awesome.
Congressional Medal of Honor winners during the Civil War, so that he was handed the first, so that's one of our notoriety. Wilson Football Factory
Yeah.
in Ada, too bad you're not gonna be around tomorrow.
What was that, I'm sorry?
Are you gonna be around tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we can.
We're having a county commissioners, Northwest Ohio,
Ah.
meeting over there, and, included as a tour of the Wilson factory, and
Good.
dinner and legislative stuff, so.
County Commissioners Association of Ohio,
Mhm.
along with the County Engineers Association of Ohio, do host quarterly events
Mhm.
in various counties. We're talking about the northwest
Yeah.
portion of
Yeah.
Ohio. And I believe it is approximately 20 counties. That is
21.
Hmm?
21.
21 counties. And so, we will be hosting 21 counties tomorrow at Ohio Northern University.
That's great.
It will be at the inn, and we have a slate of items, to, make people aware from around this northwest portion of Ohio, just what Hardin County is all about. And so we'll be having a couple of discussions, presentations, etc. And plus, after lunch, we'll have a tour of the new engineering building at ONU,
Okay.
which is a wonderful facility. And I'm sure the local engineers are really looking forward to that particular opportunity. But that will be happening tomorrow. I think that starts at 10, and it will give an opportunity for the, County Commissioners Association and County Engineers Association to have their meetings at that meeting, their quarterly meetings. And then once we do that, then we'll go into the presentations. So it'll be a full day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, they kind of rotate the hosting of it, and it was our turn. And so, you know, the next time we have it is 21 times 4 months, or 3 months,
Yeah.
that you can see when the next time we'll have it.
Sure.
But it'll be fun. It'll be a nice opportunity. We're looking forward to it too, for outsiders to be able to come to Hardin County and to see what's going on. It'd be great if we could have it here in Kenton, which is the county seat of the county, but needless to say, to inform all these people from 21 total counties around the area who to travel, it'd be difficult getting around in Kenton. And so we talked to the mayor, and we decided that probably it'd be more feasible to do it in Ada. So that's what we're doing.
Well, it's still a very nice space there at the end, and getting to see the new Wilson factory is probably a great experience for these folks.
That would be one of the discussions that we have. We're going to have a representative from Wilson there tomorrow to do a virtual tour of the football factory and to show some of the modern techniques that are going into making football, plus still the old techniques, because basically speaking, if you look at each one of those footballs that are played in the NFL, of course, they all come from Ada. And I call it, being an old factory guy, what they have is what I would call a handmade fixture. And it's just something on a table, and it's molded down, and they take the sewn leather and actually run it through this fixture to develop the point, and then turn it over and do the same thing again to get the form of the football. Goes to the next operation, put it in the bladder, and then to go put the air in it, seal it up with the laces accordingly. But it's a lot of hand work that is done. Not as much automation as what you would think.
Yeah.
But a lot of hand work. But to look at that factory, it's beautiful factories.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate that Wilson decided after, I think they had a lot of opportunities to potentially move the factory to another location. And, you know, let's face it, a nice location would be next to or near the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And I think Canton was looking at trying to do some stuff. But I think they realized that the base, the labor base that we have here, the experience, because that factory's been making footballs probably since the late 40s, early 50s. Maybe not necessarily the NFL football, but has been making footballs. And so it's the crew is well experienced as to how to do this. And I think that they looked at that as a very favorable thing, and they decided to do the building process here in Ada, in Hardin County, and so we're very thankful for that.
That's awesome.
How many employees do they have?
Oh, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly. It isn't as many as what you probably think. I would say.
They just picked up the contract too for basketballs,
Yeah.
NBA basketballs, they're completed, but they come here and there's a machine that bounces them and breaks them in. They put them in there, so all of them that go to the NBA now have.
And that's the truth. Just think of it that every NFL football you see comes from Ada, but basically every NFL or NBA basketball comes from Ada. And even though we may not produce it, it'll go through a quality control check of dribbling, et cetera. And then I think they have an operation where they put the printing on the ball and then ship it out. So it's quite interesting. The two major sports involving balls like that those balls come from Ada. It's interesting.
That's awesome. Right here in Hardin County.
Right here
I love it.
in Hardin County, in a brand new, wonderful facility in Ada, Ohio.
Absolutely.
So,
I know Senator Moreno, I don't know, we've gotta get guidance on that. Usually we try to find things that they display in their offices on consignment that represent parts of the state, and maybe we can talk with Wilson to see if they'd be able to donate a first class football to place in.
You know, it is one of those things,
Yeah.
you know, it's a very, very noticeable,
Yeah.
thing that if you think of all these footballs around the world, why they all come from there.
Yeah, that's awesome, that's awesome.
And they make more than just NFL footballs too.
Mhm.
They'll make other types of footballs, college footballs, collegiate footballs, things of that nature. But of course, their showcase is the NFL football.
Yeah, sure, that's awesome.
Do you have, other large manufacturers in the county?
We don't have really any additional new factories.
No, we have GPI, which
Okay.
is just down the street here,
Okay.
Main Street. They produce, disposable cups, paper plates,
Very
lid
good.
line. They're a big manufacturer. Robinson Finn, they've just added on, they'll be there tomorrow too. Mr. Hallsalter is one of the owners. They do a lot of government work, for airplanes and everything else. Fins, I mean, we do have some manufacturing around,
Good.
but we are always open for more manufacturing.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, Mr. Moreno, Senator, you know, with the regulations we all deal with every day, I think sometimes if we maybe streamline that, we're definitely open for business here in Hardin County. So we don't have a major highway system, but everything comes through Hardin County. We're right here in the middle of everything. So my reasoning, it can come through us. So we're just, we're open for business, I'll put it that way.
That's right, we're open for business. Yeah, Joe makes a good point, in fact, that if you look around, we don't have a 4-lane highway that comes into our county or goes through our county. We do not. But here at where we're sitting right here is the intersections of how many state routes?
68, 67, 39, 53, so it comes through Hardin County, 31. And we do have Precision Strip, it's just on the outskirts of Canton here. They do the coils, for Honda, they come in, the coils come in, they'll put them down the size for Honda, Whirlpool, several other vendors. It's a major.
Are they tier 1, it sounds like, then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have our road spurs, of course, so that's a big plus for us.
Yeah.
So we have everything right here, we're just, maybe some regulations go away and somebody looks our way, we'll definitely take advantage of it.
But like we said, you know, with this right here, where we're setting out right now, being the intersection of all those different state highways, you can imagine the potential deterioration of the roads right here in front. You could go outside and you can kind of look at the waves in the highway, so you can understand the deterioration that has developed over the years, and one of the big reasons why we're doing what we're doing, or the city is doing what they're doing out here.
Yeah, I think Deb was telling me how, 68th Street is going to be like extra reinforced for trucks, whereas 53 over here is more for, walkability and,
Local.
yeah, local traffic.
Yeah.
Which this street's done already, right?
Well, the final, it has the top, it doesn't have the top coat.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're waiting because it's gonna be 2.5 years probably for,
Sure.
give or take.
Sure.
So they're not gonna truly finish it until they get all the major traffic back on Detroit.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Well, it's looking nice already.
It does.
It's coming right along, that's basically, you know, 1+ years of work to see for what you're seeing over there. But, you know, it's a several-year project, and I think we're going to be eventually seeing a roundabout located here in town that will take a lot of that traffic on either side and direct it one way down through here.
What was the total investment in the renovations around the square? Do you know?
Including roundabout, everything, ODOT put in like $6 million into it, so the city's basically paying 20% of all the stuff, so it's in different layers,
Yeah.
different projects, but ODOT's helped a lot.
Is the county contributing to it, or is it not necessary?
How's that again?
Not to that one, no.
Okay.
We had our ARPA money, our
Yeah.
rescue money that went
Mhm.
around all county, all entities, but,
There's a lot of EPA money that's been involved in it too.
Good.
Okay.
Clean Ohio, I think there's several different grant programs for sewer, storm sewer, water. So it's just not strictly on top. I mean, there's a lot of infrastructure underneath that's
Mhm.
been paid for by different entities,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, a lot of infrastructure around the square, and that was done in the 1890s.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's pretty old, water, sewage, storm sewers had to be separated and
Mhm.
everything else. So
Yeah.
a lot of the money went to what is underground. So the final project will be finishing off the sidewalks and the streets and the lights and curbs and so, but, they had to get what was underneath first. That's what they're kinda doing now, they're doing the water lines, sewer lines and stormwater over here on Detroit. And they're up about a block up, but they wanna go all the way to city limits if they can get the funding. So, any help with federal funding, I'm sure they would enjoy, cause right now the state and the city is picking up most of that,
Mm-hmm.
so.
So it's quite an undertaking, it's gonna take several years.
Yeah. What's that timeline look like, do you know?
27's kind of the
Okay.
final with the roundabout
Yeah.
down here on
Gotcha.
moving 31 over, the 31's on this side of the courthouse, and 67's on this side. They're gonna put a roundabout in at the river, which is about a block or two down, and bring 31 for trucks over to 67, which comes up and meets 309 and all the other highways, so they're trying to get the trucks over on this side and pedestrians and everybody on this side. So, but this intersection right over here is the busiest intersection in Hardin County, traffic wise.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody comes to this point in the county at more than anywhere else, so. One of your questions, I brought it up, it's Wilson Football has 150 employees.
Okay.
So they just did a new building onto the factory for the basketballs
Okay.
and the rest of their operation, but, yeah.
So really, when you think about the activity that they do at Wilson with all the footballs that they do, you know, 150 people isn't too many, but if it's well organized and, like I said, the knowledge to do it is really very neat. Well, one of the neat, I'll go back to the football real quick, one of the neat things is the fact that in doing the Super Bowl football, that's difficult to do because they don't know who the teams are going to be at the very end.
Yeah.
And then if you think of the number of footballs that they would produce for that one activity, it's quite a few. Because as I understand it, every play has a different football. So that you can say, a bidder wants to buy a Super Bowl played football. Okay, this one played in the Super Bowl, so they have a number then that they can sell.
Really? I figured there was maybe like 10 of them for the whole game. I don't know.
I think every play, they use a different
That's crazy.
football. And that then they can advertise, potentially sell those footballs and say they were used in this Super Bowl. But they don't know till the very end who the two teams are.
Mm-hmm.
And so they know who the teams are as of that last Sunday, and they start a midnight shift at midnight on Monday, and they start producing footballs.
And they have a chip in all NFL balls has a chip, and that way when you see, you know, online statistics, you know, the ball was thrown 62 yards or something, 62 yards, you know, at the velocity, I mean, everything now it's pinpointed, it's amazing, that's a football, you know, but it's not a football.
Yeah.
So you know what drives me nuts? It has a chip in the ball that can tell them all that information, but there's no chip in the ball that can tell them if they actually got a first down or not.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they do that next, you know?
I think they have, they're going to
I just don't wanna override anybody.
Yeah, you don't wanna, put the ref out of a job who has to run out on the field and all wobbly and just place it arbitrarily, like, come on.
it's quite a facility, if you ever get a chance to tour. I mean, it's state of the art.
I mean, that was gonna make that connection for me, so I'm excited to get up there. Absolutely.
One other distinction we have, I always like to say, we have the shortest 4-lane highway in Ohio.
Where's that at?
1 block right down
That's
here.
right.
4-lane highway goes across the river.
Oh, we don't,
It's the only US highway that we have that's our 4-lane.
yeah,
So, for industry and everything else,
yeah,
That's it.
very much so,
we don't have any 4-lane highways, and that's hard of production and factory wise,
yeah.
so. but-
You guys are very similar to, you know, Champaign County, we don't have a major highway, 36 and 68 intersect at the square there, and that was what, 25, 30 years of trying to figure out what was the best way for the flow of traffic. But our roads, the city roads get put under a lot of stress because of the amount of truck traffic coming in north, south, east, and west. Cause 36 takes you to 70 or 75, 68 takes you to 70 or 75, depending on where you're coming from.
Or 33.
Or 33, yeah, so, trust me, I understand what you guys are going
Oh,
through,
yeah.
because our folks down there go through it as well, so, should've had a bypass, but, oh well. Oh well.
So we've talked about the different industries here
Mhm.
in Hardin County. Of course, we've talked of the sports industry, we've talked of the cup industry. We've talked of, energy,
Mhm.
the solar and wind,
Mhm.
but the primary, is agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
Agriculture is our number one, so. And, this county, for all the years it's been in existence, kind of lives and breathes on agriculture.
And that's a strong characteristic of a lot of the outskirt counties that we see.
Yeah.
Marion, Morrow, Hardin, Logan, Champaign, even Madison, and down to Fairfield, Pickaway around. And Delaware and Union, they've still got they're still there, but they're seeing obviously their city centers blowing up,
It
because of the
really is.
growth they're seeing, so.
My goodness gracious, it's amazing, like, I remember as a kid,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm diverging.
No,
You're
But
good.
I remember as a kid that when you would compare Hardin County with Union County, and Union County, of course, is in Marysville.
Yeah.
That I think we were bigger, we had more people, our Kent was larger than Marysville,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, needless to say, because of Honda, that isn't the case
Yeah,
anymore. And, it's just amazing how that has grown. And that stretch of 33 from Marysville going into Dublin is going to be, I predict one day, completely, that whole stretch will be either, housing or factories or stuff.
It's about getting there.
They're getting there very quick.
Yeah, it'll be all developed. That would be a new corridor for sure, if not already. Yeah, it's interesting, and that's what makes, I think, our region unique to an extent is we still have the rural heritage on the outskirts of the region, but then as we get closer to Columbus, we're interacting with some of the fastest growing places in the state of Ohio and frankly, the United States. So it's definitely I wouldn't say a tale of two cities, but it's an interesting dynamic. But at the end of the day, every single county we've talked to out of the 12, 13 we have, they're all wanting the growth. They're not saying, oh, this is terrible, we need to stop this. They're all at different levels of where they're at in terms of their growth within their respective counties, but they're all welcoming it, they're embracing it. And you guys are just as much as Union County is, and Pickaway County's embracing it as much as Delaware. To an extent, it's just on different levels. So I think that's where we have a fun time getting to hear all the stories and getting to see what's all going well for the central region. So nothing against our counterparts in the other region, but.
It'll be interesting to see if the Intel factory brings anything this far out,
Yeah.
Other than solar and wind. We're
Yeah.
producing solar and wind, which they can purchase off the web
Yeah.
or off the
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
But, kind of a bedroom community for Honda.
Yep.
And Whirlpools and Marion.
Yep.
And Finley, all around us. Each direction, each highway, there's a city. So we're kinda in the
There's a
middle, like a
connection point,
wagon
yeah.
wheel. Trying to, so
Yeah, I like that.
we hope to pick up a little bit more, but, we haven't, maybe where we could use some help is some money in housing, to do housing in the county, whether it's federal money or what. We have no big contractor willing to come in and put out the money to do housing. Other than we used to get, I think, or we did, all of the money in the world for like senior citizens or disadvantaged to build housing, but to build houses for workers, for the factories is not here. It's very limited on what you can buy housing. So we need that push or that funding that someone can come in and build a housing division. I could drive down to Bell Fountain and everything, there's building everywhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's funding all this.
Yeah.
And we just can't, we don't have the bait to bring in a contractor that's willing to put out millions and take a chance.
Yeah.
So it's where we may need, if there's federal help, if there's state help, bring housing to Hardin.
Absolutely, wow.
Because Mount Victory, for a good example, and that are right on the edge to the Honda people.
Yeah.
You know, it's a short drive down 292 to go to Honda and everything, so.
You think with
Indian Lake's
Wilson?
right in the corner of the
Yeah.
county, a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's
recreation area there, housing, so. We just, that would be one area I would like to see some help if we can get some kind of funding in here for housing.
We are a small county. I guess we've been at roughly about 30,000 here. And in fact, I was looking at some of the stats. You can go back all the way to the 1880s, and we were at 27,000. So it's just been kind of
You're growing.
At that, yeah. 130 years.
Slow.
But yeah, slow and steady, but, you know, it's just been that way, and so, you know, because it hasn't grown, kind of shows the fact that we are a county that has a lot of brain drain, if you know what I mean. We have a lot of talented people, a lot of talented young people that are from the county, but then if they get the opportunity, they could possibly work or move to another county and be better off than what they could be here in Hardin County. So, you know, those sort of opportunities we have, I guess with being small and having limited stuff that we do have, the effects of brain drain. So.
We have a nice, Ohio Northern University is super over there in Ada. As far as engineering, lawyers, I mean, they're top notch.
Pharmacists,
We have a top notch college in the county. It's just, once they graduate there, you know, they disperse in other places. One of the problems here at the courthouse is indigent defense and keeping lawyers here. Most people go to law school or Hardin or Ohio Northern and then get hired for more money in Columbus or wherever else. It's kind of that way in any job. The pay scale here is not up to big cities, so.
Well, Thompson Dunlap and Harding is expanding up here, aren't they?
What's that?
Thompson Dunlap and Harding here?
Right across the street.
Oh, TDH, they're coming up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the Steinhofer firm is opening up an office. They're in downtown Bell Fountain.
yeah. Hopefully with all this construction, it'll draw in, because most of the buildings around the square, other than the south side, is government, they're empty.
Yeah.
They're waiting for the water, sewer, sidewalks. I don't think we're gonna get any electric car plug-ins soon, but
No, I don't think so
That is
either.
change with the change of presidents, but,
I'll tell you what though, we have a few in downtown Wolf Fountain, and they're always being used, and the plates are always from out of state. So people are, as they're driving through, they're seeing where they can stop, and they pull off the highway, they stop in downtown, and while they're waiting, they're shopping and eating and spending money, so.
Yeah, that's
From a tourism standpoint, it is at least a little bit beneficial.
Downtown Belleville has changed quite a bit and does have that impact of downtown stuff. And again, it's been, local investors who developed it and made it what it is today.
It only took about 15 years, but.
I'm kinda surprised with all the ODOT money, and if there would be federal money involved, that there hasn't been some station, mandated to be
Yeah.
put in. I don't know of any.
Mhm.
There's private people that have them,
Absolutely.
plug them in their garage, and the dentist over here plugs his car in, but he comes right out of the county
Mhm.
to be the dentist.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys are building a good foundation, hopefully
It's a start,
kickstart some,
Yeah, to start.
a revival resurgence of your downtown. And I think we're seeing that a lot on, obviously, Bell Fountain's an example. A lot of the county seats, where the town squares, the town centers, kind of died for a little bit because people were flocking to the outskirts. There's kind of now a revival and trying to reinvest in those parts of town, to an extent, so that's.
Well, we started to see a huge movement of stores selling,
Yes,
but
Yeah.
they're kinda out of town, like over here's the out of town boy here, and over
Yeah.
here's a building that just sold that's not a familiar county name,
Mhm.
so they're probably from out of town,
Yeah.
I'm just guessing,
Mhm.
so they're starting to notice us.
Mhm.
They're
Good.
saying that we're doing progress,
Mhm.
and Ada and Kenton both have been on the edge of doing improvements,
Mm.
especially over there with the college and everything, so.
Very good.
But here, I think they're on the right path, it's just, we need that shot in the arm for housing. And our factories are saying, we do like the Cup
Yeah.
International, or,
GPI.
yeah, out there, they'll have a hiring, and they'll hire hundreds, but they get
Yeah, they can't find
a
a way to
dozen
live.
qualified people.
Yeah.
So they're wanting good workforce.
Mhm.
Our county is split up between 3 JVS's, vocational schools, which kinda is a disadvantage, we don't have one in our county.
Yeah.
So our kids are bused for industrial arts and carpentry and everything else. So Kenton's building a new high school and middle school right now, and they're gonna put industrial arts and welding and everything back in.
Yeah.
But, so now the kids have a choice, they don't have to be bused,
Mhm.
so.
So you guys are split class 3, you said?
We have
Really?
3 different vocations.
High Point, Apollo,
Yeah, and then there was Schreier Rivers,
oh, we don't.
they cover over by
Wow.
Forest.
Interesting. I figured you guys would either just be Apollo or High Point, probably High Point, to be honest.
Can't
Apollo's-
go to the point.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
wow.
great school when it started, in fact, they rebuilt,
Yeah.
High Point down there, the new school,
Mhm.
the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I was even on that board back a long time ago, so.
I went to High Point my junior, senior year.
Good. I was like the first year that it was open as a student.
That's awesome.
And they were moving all our shop equipment out, all our welding equipment out, and I wanted to be a carpenter at that time. But I didn't wanna sit on a bus and go to High Point.
Mhm.
And not that High Point was bad, I just didn't wanna ride the bus all the way
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
So,
It's, what are your backgrounds, I guess?
I'm a retired firefighter.
Retired firefighter, okay, wonderful.
I'm a farmer, and I used to work for the city of Kenton.
Okay, very good.
I'm a retired business guy in the auto industry
Okay.
Primary auto industry for about 44 years.
Very good. Very good.
So we got different backgrounds.
Yeah.
which helps.
Yeah, it does, absolutely.
That's it, we're different backgrounds and everything, we have different thoughts on how things should be done or anything, but it all comes together
Yeah.
and really makes for a good blend.
Good, good. Sounds like you guys do have a good team here, within you guys, and even the support from the outside.
So,
The other counterparts and other parts of local government in the county, which is good. I'm sure other counties, would be jealous to have that, dynamic, unfortunately, so, good.
we work well with our sheriff and other departments, and I'll even tell you
Yeah.
that, he's talked to other sheriffs around the state, and they don't get along so well. Commissioners and-
Yeah.
So, he'll even tell you he feels lucky, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's true, we work well with him. I sit on the multi-county jail board over in Marion,
Mhm.
so that's where our local, even our jail is not in Hardin County,
Yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
we're like that way in a lot of entities, but, so we're partnered with them. The jails have funding problems all the time,
Yeah.
especially in mental health now.
Yep.
So if there's something the federal government
Mhm.
or anything, I don't know how well they, or how in-depth they are with funding on mental health, but, I think most are repeat prisoners now. They need a mental health place to go. I mean, our jails are jails and they do the best they can, but, I think a good portion of those in jail that come back could do better going to a mental health
Recidivism.
facility or a wing of the prison. So, that's an area to look at. The state of Ohio has a small fund they do every year to build new jails or build on new jails, but it's gone in like 5 minutes of application. You know, so somebody like us putting in for our share of that jail kind of, I don't think it's the same funding or the same look. So maybe if the federal governments, I know you're trying to get smaller, but we do have a need for mental health in our prison
Good to know.
system. That's pretty obvious, so.
Yeah. Well, if, you know, as you talk to your counterparts, here in Hardin County and other local governments, obviously your counterparts, horizontally to you in the county, feel free to share our information if they do have questions or they like something to relay to us. You know, that's kind of the point of, I guess, being here for you guys too, is as you talk to your county engineer about highway funding, or you talk about with your public health department with some EPA issues you're having, feel free to share our contacts if they have issues or if they have things that need to be relayed to Senator Moreno that potentially we can help with. We've got a phenomenal casework team, I would say one of the better in the entire United States Senate, and they've been working their butt off from day one, so we're very blessed to have them in Columbus and obviously the other offices that we have in the state. So our contact is more than happy to be shared on your guys' behalf to them to help you guys.
Get some cards, Brandon.
Yes,
They're working on it.
Oh my
They
gosh.
say.
Oh
We
my
know how
gosh.
that works.
It took us, what, a month to get our laptops and phones all set up after a while? Yeah, it's been a little slow, but we made it work. We made it work, so.
Good.
Gentlemen, thank you, appreciate it.
Well, guys, it's been nice for you to stop by and just kind of
Absolutely.
chat a little bit about everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Anytime.
the only thing I would ask of the three of you today is as things come up, if there's issues that come up, feel free to reach out to us. If there's any events, any important meetings, groundbreaking, ribbon cuttings, county marriage association, wherever, any of that stuff that comes up that you think might be beneficial for one of us to attend, or even if you want to extend an invitation to Senator Moreno, feel free to send it our way. You can never send us too much stuff. I cannot promise that Senator Moreno will come to every single thing he's invited to. The reality is he'll be in DC more than 90% of the time, but that's why he has Taylor and I here to go and represent him at meetings and events, and we're more than happy to come to anything that we're able to make it to. So
That sounds good. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Gentlemen,
Thank you.
thanks for your time.
Come back.
Yeah, absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
We want to be back in Hardin County.
Appreciate it.
I met Mr. Moreno before he.
Mr. Rush, appreciate it,
thank you
sir.
very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on the corner over there at the coffee shop.
Oh, great.
He met with
At Jitters?
Yeah,
I'm stopping there after this.
We went over there and then, I think it was his wife,
Bridget,
yes, and I don't know if they were married at that time.
they've been married for a long time.
Okay, well, maybe they were, she was with him, so that was pleasant.
Yeah, there was no
Commissioner
one-
Crowe at that time and I were on, and we met him over there.
I'm sure there's no one more excited for election than Bridget. So,
Yeah.
but she's a wonderful lady.
Yes, he is.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioners, thank you, appreciate it.
Take care.
$15 million production facility. Was the Wilson addition. Got a chance to read a little further, June 24, 80,000 square feet. And the old building was only half that size, so that's. There's a trivia. How many footballs did they make? How many?
How many? I don't know.
500,000.
Doesn't surprise me.
So it says 500,000. Footballs each year. 2,500 per day.
It is amazing though, isn't it?
Can I ask a quick question about the sign-in sheet over here, Fred? Could I ask a quick question about your sign-in sheet?
Well, again, we've already picked it up for today.
That's just a question.
Yeah.
So if I'm,
We've already picked it up for today, Michelle. We kinda have to go by some of the rules that we laid down. If you have a question, why come on back to the next meeting and let us know.
If you have any questions from this meeting?
no, I,
come
well,
up to the
I have
next
a question. If you're not here before you pick up the paper, then you're out. There's no, you can't have public comment if it's past
Pending.
pending items.
Mhm.
For any, so like if Alex comes in late, then he can't get on the comment section.
Our meetings start at 9 o'clock, they're posted every Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm,
9:30
you're-
pending is over, and that's when the sign.
oh, it's over at 9:30.
Correct.
Okay, it's not like when you end.
When pending is done at
At
9:30,
9:30.
that's when the sheet will be picked up, and then we can go on from there.
Okay, sorry, I
That's
wanted to
what
make
and
sure
that's
I'm
what
doing
I was
it.
trying to express that beforehand, that we will pick them up prior or after pending.
Okay,
So, okay?
And
And then
just
no-
make
and-
sure that when you put your name on there, that there's also a topic, because that's gonna determine if there will be time for your comment or your questions or whatever. And it does say that on there, to write your topic next to your name.
it's a lot of rules, so I
Not
will
really.
do my very best.
Not
But,
really. I appreciate that.
and you're not gonna accept a,
All you
a
need to
general-
remember is that if you want something, if you want to make or speak, all you need to do is sign it before pending is complete and indicate what it is you want to talk about. Pure and simple.
it can't, and I can't put like citizen concern.
That's what it is.
A citizen concern would be an acceptable reason.
What's that again?
No.
Like if I say
No,
citizen
there needs to be a
concern,
topic, a specific topic.
That's a topic.
So like if you wanted to stand up and question the forest, whatever, the forest EMT discussion, you sign up the next meeting, say you wanna discuss that topic, and that's what you get your 3 minutes on. You don't just get 3 minutes to stand there and campaign to YouTube or the guys.
I think it's just, it's a lot of rules, so,
Okay. I'm sure they'll work themselves out. You've been here to plenty of meetings, you'll get it worked out.
I mean, you run your office the way you wanna run it. So, it's all good. All right, thank you. I said we're gonna make it fair for everybody, not just myself. So these rules apply to everybody in
That's what
the office.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure that we're not just singling me out.
No.
Okay.
If there's someone else that comes in, that's true. Press is a little bit different.
They're different in what way?
Well, the press does come to the meetings and they are eligible to at some time ask questions about it. But a citizen, local citizen, all we do is ask that you go with that function.
Are they a protected class, media?
What?
A protected class? I mean, they've got
No.
special privileges?
No.
I'm just saying something to think about.
Okay. Well, I'll review that.
Okay, thanks.